Well, I think, the question I always ask is, if not self-custody, why crypto? What really is the innovation? I think for the very base level, if you think about the revolution of the internet, that was this revolution where information became free. It moved around more freely. So what's the revolution of blockchains? The revolution really is digital ownership. So security and custody is important. Wherever you have your digital value, you want to know that it is safe and it's available to you when you want it. And having self custody or ownership, self ownership is not only an option, but in many ways it's a right. And it's a right, not only to own your own value, the way that you can take your own possessions and put them in your personal safe, but also to be able to use them. Right, you have possession of your passport and your driver's license, and that allows you to use them for things that were not necessarily anticipated by the DMV. And that's the same for all digital ownership. Blockchain are two sides of the same coin. AI brings digital abundance, and blockchains are fundamentally about digital scarcity. And we're already living in a world where you're looking at web pages that were made by AI, that was fed by web pages that were made by AI. So at some point, knowing that it is actually me who is saying what I'm saying, and that it's not a deep fake and it's not altered, is incredibly important. And it's important not only if you want to hear what I have to say, but also if you're using things I've written as input. I mean, simply logging into your X account with your ledger, as opposed to only your computer, is a strong signal that you are a human. And then you could, on top of that, have a form of digital identity which says, okay, I'm actually a unique human, or I'm the same human that owns those other two accounts. So I think that increasingly we'll see the ways that these two things go hand in hand.
It's keeping money tight for the foreseeable future. But we'll find out tomorrow when the jury returns in the guise of Fed Chief Jay Powell. It's pretty easy to stay tight here. The backbone of the U.S. economy is small business. And small business optimism is the highest it's been all year. That means more hiring on top of the 272,000 people who got jobs last month. Hard to imagine getting rate cuts when small business is that optimistic. As said, the Fed needs to be obviously vigilant against inflation. All that said, prices are coming down. Companies that don't lower them will lose business. It's the brutal natural order of things, and it's going to play out within the next year.
Well, currently we have a preference when it comes to the government bond market. We have a preference for European government bonds and UK government bonds over US treasuries more broadly, given market pricing. But in terms of where we prefer along the shape of the curve, we like front end and the belly of the curve rather than the long end of the curve, precisely because of what you talked about, that we see the fiscal trajectory, high level of indebtedness, actually making the current level of term premium, which is still very, very muted, not sustainable.
Welcome to the Crypto Teacher. And I come back with that video just to make you think.
Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel.
And make sure you join the Patrons. If you're not a part of the Patrons, make sure you're hitting the Cash App. And we have Ian Rogers from Ledger. And he's speaking about self-custody, and you definitely want to self-custody your crypto. But what you don't want is a backdoor to your wallet. And that's the reason why it's so important for you to understand this technology. So when you're going out searching for a wallet, you're making an educated decision. Now, guys, we have Jim Cramer on small business. It's the backbone of the economy. And we definitely know that. And he states if these corporations don't lower prices, they'll lose business. Who can afford to hold out? That's right, big businesses. Because the fact is that McDonald's can drop down to $5 meals, but your mom and pop can't. So that means they're going to lose a lot of business, end up closing. With these inflation prices, there's no way that these small businesses can survive anyway. Because eventually, when the consumers start losing their job, they're going to go home and cook. And remember, the Crypto Teacher told you. Now, we have BlackRock states that rather buy UK and European bonds and short-term US paper, but they're definitely not looking at buying this long-term paper. And guys, remember what I told you. Nobody wants these long-term US treasuries because they know what's going to happen down the road. The United States dollar is going to lose that world reserve currency. And then on top of it, with all this debt, Congress has to make a move. And it's going to be soon. And remember, the crypto teacher told you. And then, guys, tomorrow we have the Fed in the house. And then on top of it, we have CPI numbers. Guys, do you think that's by chance? No. We know these dates are selected. Only thing you have to do is sit back, get your popcorn, let it play out, because they're going to spin this narrative. And remember, the crypto teacher told you. Remember, anytime Jerome is in the house, they bring some other type of distraction in to take the heat off of him. And then we have Hunter Biden found guilty. And they're acting like he's a president. They're comparing him with Trump, like Trump used to be the president of the United States. Biden is just the son of the United States. But guys, we know this is all a movie. Again, get your popcorn, sit back, and let it play out. Now we have Apple and Openai team up. And guys, we know what this is really about. They're collecting all of your data. And they're calling this an assistant for a reason. That's the reason why you have to be careful what you're putting in your phones from now on. Get you a little burner or something. But you have to be careful because what they're doing, the next step, is creating a digital twin. When you think about it, people have their whole lives in their phone. What they want to eat, everything about their kids and family, what's going on at work, and your relationships. This is called an assistant for a reason because it's going to know you better than you know yourself. And remember, the crypto teacher told you because he knows when it comes to the NWO, it's all planned out. Y'all have a wonderful day.
Setting us up for two of the important events tomorrow, a few others to keep an eye on, including inflation data out of China.
That's right. And there's deflation, at least at the wholesale level in China. PPI seen down 1.5%, although that's an improvement from down 2.5% in April. CPI gaining about 0.4%.
Shortly after that, overnight, you're actually going to hear from the Bank of Thailand, a rate decision over there. But really, the big show is back here in the U.S., and it starts at 8:30 a.m.
Yeah, 8:30 a.m., we get the CPI numbers, we get core, and of course, we get the headline number. And then that's kind of part of the drumbeat to the FOMC decision at 2 p.m.
Yeah, kind of interesting. Normally, these two events don't happen on the same day.
Yeah, we get to obsess over it on two separate days.
Yeah, you think Jay Powell and company are obsessing over this?
I wonder if they have access to it. I mean, I know that the answer is they shouldn't, but...
Yeah. All right, well, 2 p.m. time, we are going to get the Fed decision. We kind of know what it's going to be.
Right, a federal jury has now found Hunter Biden guilty on all three counts. This is in relation to a gun incident. Hunter Biden faced three charges. He faced a charge of false statement material to a firearms sale. For that count, prosecutors needed to prove whether Hunter Biden made a false statement when he filled out a form related to his gun purchase and whether he knew that statement was false. On count one, the jury found Hunter Biden guilty. On count two, that was a false statement in a firearms transaction record. For that count, what prosecutors were trying to prove was that the defendant made a false statement filling out the form and knew that that statement was false. And on count three, possession of a firearm by a drug user or a drug addict, prosecutors needed to prove in that case whether the defendant was either an unlawful user of a controlled substance or a drug addict and whether the defendant knowingly possessed a firearm. The jury then finding Hunter Biden guilty in that count as well. So this was a trial, guys, that wrapped up yesterday and has been the source of a lot of really sordid testimony about Hunter Biden's life, his experiences. It's been very damaging for the First family. The First Lady attended the trial on a number of different days here to show support for Hunter Biden. This has been sort of a tragic experience for the Biden family to see all this aired in a public court setting. Now it is over. The sentencing phase will be a separate phase of this, so no indication yet of what is going to happen to Hunter Biden now in terms of punishment here. But a jury has now found Hunter Biden guilty on all three counts. Guys, back over to you.
I want to get into your review, which was fascinating to read this morning in the Journal. It's worth a read for those who haven't seen it yet. But help us answer the question. Maybe I don't understand it. It did not appear to me that ChatGPT is genuinely integrated at the operating level, more that this was something that you would sort of use almost like an API and sort of push out to in certain instances when you need it, but that it wasn't necessarily living inside the iOS itself.
Absolutely correct. What Apple talked about yesterday was doing a lot of this AI processing either in Apple's on the device or using Apple's cloud services, what they've called private cloud compute. And this is a way they've invented basically that it's secure on the cloud and it's in their servers and in their world. That said, if there is something that requires a larger language model and Apple feels like we can't answer that, they're going to go out and ask you if you can ask ChatGPT. But you get a pop-up. They showed this a number of times during the presentation. You get a pop-up, a notification that says, can we go ask ChatGPT this question? And you confirm that.
So what was your general, and so, by the way, before, just to finish this off, if you were Elon Musk, and I don't remember if he had tweeted this prior to the presentation or right after, but if you were to actually dig into this and look at it, do you think that he would say this is integrated or not?
I think Elon Musk had a very rash reaction to hearing the news, hearing ChatGPT is integrated in iOS. And sure, you can think that, but that's just not the case, at least according to what Apple is saying and what they're showing.
It also seemed to me that longer term, and there were some references to it yesterday, it's very possible that in the future, instead of just going out to go use a large language model like ChatGPT, you may very well do it with Gemini. You may very well be able to click off and go to Grok if you want.
Absolutely. Absolutely. People need to think about this as you can choose what search engine you use on your iPhone in Safari. Well, I think you're going to be able to choose which large language model you use through Siri. And that was really the point they were making yesterday, is that Siri is going to be this portal to getting information and your AI assistant. They never use the word or term AI, but your Apple assistant or your Apple intelligence. And so eventually, they say, there may be other large language models that integrate through there, Google, Claude, whichever ones that are out there now. Apple will have to make that deal, but they've made this first deal with Openai. And so now Siri can go and do that.
Going to a different economy. And we're going to be learning more about that as we go. But clearly, we're learning that things can be done from remote locations. We're learning that technology can replace people even more than we thought.
We're not going back to the same economy. We're recovering, but to a different economy, and it'll be one that is more leveraged to technology. And I worry that that is going to make it even more difficult than it was for many workers.
In Silicon Valley, and my friends who work in technology know that what we did to the manufacturing workers, we are now going to do to the retail workers, the call center workers, the fast food workers, the truck drivers, and then even bookkeepers, accountants, insurance agents, lawyers, and on through the economy. So what happened to the manufacturing workers is a very clear sign.
And so we'll import Chinese-based CBDC technology. So it's going to be CBDC in a box, provided to you by the People's Bank of China. But every stock, every bond, every currency, every commodity, every piece of art, every private business, every piece of real estate will eventually be a token on a blockchain, an entry on a ledger, permanent and immutable. We will have truth instead of trust, and we will save over $7 trillion a year. 6 to 8% of global GDP is wasted by the friction of the trust industry that's necessary when you have dual entry accounting. With triple entry accounting, which is what a blockchain is, we get rid of all of that friction. It's a beautiful future.
Like what you see in China and their social credit scoring systems, right? If we get identity wrong, it could be a tool to enslave humanity. And if we get it right, it could be a tool to liberate humanity. And as an American, I'm obviously rooting for the one that's on the side of freedom.
Bitcoin is an international asset. And also, I do believe the role of crypto is, it's digitizing gold.
I actually believe this technology is going to be very important. Look at it. We have been part of the huge revolution in investing through ETFs. We believe that ETFs will be changing the whole way we invest. Many people still use it as a means, people are investing it for indexing. No, the majority of people who are putting money in in ETFs are active investors that are buying exposure. The entire bond market is being transformed as we talk right now. I believe the next generation for markets, the next generation for securities will be tokenization of securities. We will, and if we could have that distributed ledger that we know every beneficial owner, every beneficial seller, we all have our code of who's buying, who's selling, instantaneous settlement. And think about it, it changes the whole ecosystem.
Chinese bank ICBC has been hit by a ransomware attack, and the U.S. Treasury market, as a result of that, has been disrupted. This, according to the Financial Times. We're getting at more right now with Bloomberg's Shonali Bassick. Shonali, what do we know?
Listen, we have the Financial Times now reporting that ICBC, one of China's largest banks here, was hit with a ransomware attack. And remember, they're a very significant intermediary in the Treasury market. The SIFMA has told its members that this has been part of the reason here that the system is kind of clogged up, if you will, during that auction that we saw a little bit before. The attack had prevented ICBC, according to the Financial Times, from settling Treasury trades on behalf of other market participants. A large executive at a major bank also telling the paper that such a large party on the fixed income clearing corp creates major concerns, potentially impacting the liquidity of Treasury markets.
Now, it was not just a poor auction. It was absolutely lousy, and you know, when the dealers have to step in to save a treasury auction, that's a rare occurrence. And
Cryptoteacher and the new World Order book, plus the 3 kids books, is time to re-educate. Also, if new to cryptos, Coinbase, Bitrue, Binance, do not forget book links and crypto links are in the description. The stock channel, guys. Don't forget to go like, subscribe, spread everywhere. You have your Kobo, your chip stocks, your banking, your gaming. While everybody's sitting at home, get on stocks, the Seaver, the biotech stocks. And while everybody's at home wishing, they were still getting that free money. What are they doing? Drinking and smoking weed. Don't forget about those stocks, and you have a wonderful day. The most powerful person in the world is the storyteller. The storyteller sets the vision, values, and agenda of an entire generation to come. Steve Jobs. And guys, you know I truly believe in this. When you look at the New World Order, they're the storytellers. And that's the reason why I wrote my New World Order book. But guys, now it's time to change the current generation. And I wrote 3 kids books. You know I love the Trinity because I understand the power that's in it. So I have 3 books. We have an opportunity to change the generation, to educate, not just me, but I want to show you that I take action on a daily basis. And I want you to take action on a daily basis. Whether it's your job, whether it's in your community, we have an opportunity right now to educate the masses. I posted this on my Twitter account. Please share, but this is a short clip of the 3 books. There's going to be a clothing line and action figures. Please get these books for your kids, nephews, cousins, friends, so therefore we can start the re-education now. Because as we see, the 4th Industrial Revolution foundation is definitely here. Robots, algorithms, drones, taking humanity out the picture. We have to re-educate. But let's get into the video.
Part 1. King Joshua and Grandma Tam save the village. Part 2. King Joshua and Grandma Tam save New York from COVID-33. Part 3. King Joshua and Grandma Tam goes to China.
It's mandatory to get part 1, part 2, and part 3 of this series. It's time to re-educate Generation Z.